Ladies and gentlemen, in life we often find ourselves battling against the tide, striving and pushing to make things happen. We believe that by sheer will and determination we can force our reality to align with our desires. But what if I told you that true power lies not in the force of action, but in the gentle act of surrender? Surrender, when properly understood, is not about giving up or relinquishing control to fate. It is the conscious decision to let go of resistance, to release the mental and emotional grip we have on outcomes, and to trust in the natural flow of life. It is an art, one that requires faith, stillness, and a deep understanding of the inner self. Surrender, as a concept, is often misunderstood. Many people equate it with defeat, believing that to surrender is to give up on their dreams, ambitions, or goals. However, true surrender is not about relinquishing your desires or aspirations. It is about letting go of the need to control every outcome, of trying to force things into place, and instead trusting in the natural flow of life. It's an act of releasing resistance, an acceptance that things may not unfold exactly as planned, but will still unfold in a way that serves your highest good. When we talk about surrender, we're not talking about abandoning effort or action. In fact, surrender requires an incredible amount of inner strength. It's easy to cling to control, to try to manipulate circumstances, or to exhaust yourself with constant action. But it's much harder to release that grip, to take a step back and to trust that the universe is working on your behalf. Surrender is a conscious decision to let go of control over the outcome and to trust in a higher wisdom. At its core, surrender is about detaching from the result while still maintaining faith in the process. It's the understanding that, while you can take actions toward your goals, you cannot dictate exactly how or when those goals will manifest. It's a recognition that there are forces at play, call it the universe, God, or life itself, that are far greater and more intelligent than our limited human minds can comprehend. When you surrender, you align yourself with these forces, trusting that they are working in your favor, even when you cannot see the full picture. One of the reasons we struggle with surrender is because we have been conditioned to believe that control is synonymous with power. From a young age, we are taught to plan, strategize, and work hard in order to achieve what we want. And while these traits can be valuable, they can also become a source of stress and anxiety when we try to apply them to every aspect of life. The truth is, control is an illusion. No matter how much we plan or strive, there are countless factors beyond our control. Circumstances shift, people change, and life unfolds in ways we can't predict. When we cling to control, we are often operating from a place of fear. We fear that if we don't maintain a tight grip on the situation, things will fall apart. We fear that if we don't push hard enough, we will miss out on the life we desire. But this fear is precisely what creates resistance. It blocks the natural flow of energy and prevents us from moving forward with ease. The more we try to control, the more we resist, and the more we find ourselves stuck in a cycle of struggle. Surrender, on the other hand, is an act of faith. It's the belief that even though we cannot see every detail of the path ahead, we are being guided. It's the trust that what is meant for us will come to us, and that we don't need to force things into existence. This doesn't mean that we don't take action. On the contrary, surrender often involves taking inspired action that feels aligned, purposeful, and in flow with our deepest desires. But it's action taken from a place of trust, not from a place of fear or desperation. When you surrender, you release the need for certainty. You no longer demand that things happen on your timeline or in the exact way you envisioned. Instead, you open yourself up to the possibility that there may be a better way, a way that you haven't yet considered. You allow life to surprise you, to bring you opportunities and experiences that align with your highest potential. In doing so, you create space for miracles to unfold. Surrender also involves letting go of attachment. We often become so attached to a particular outcome that we blind ourselves to other possibilities. For example, you may have a specific goal in mind, such as landing a certain job or entering a particular relationship. While it's natural to have desires, attachment to the outcome can lead to disappointment and frustration if things don't go as planned. When you are attached, you are essentially telling the universe that you don't trust it to bring you what's best for you. But when you surrender, you release this attachment. You acknowledge that while you may have preferences, you are open to receiving whatever is in your highest good, even if it looks different from what you expected. This openness allows you to stay in a state of flow, where you are receptive to new opportunities and experiences that may be even better than what you initially envisioned. Surrendering also frees you from the burden of constant worry and stress. When you try to control every outcome, you place a heavy load on yourself. You are constantly analyzing, planning, and second-guessing, which can lead to burnout and frustration. But when you surrender, you release this burden. You allow yourself to relax into the present moment, trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You no longer need to micromanage every detail of your life because you know that you are supported by forces greater than yourself. It's important to remember that surrender doesn't mean complacency or passivity. It doesn't mean that you sit back and do nothing, waiting for life to happen to you. Instead, surrender is about aligning your actions with your inner knowing. It's about taking steps toward your desires while trusting that the universe will meet you halfway. It's about moving forward with faith, even when the path ahead is unclear. Surrender is an act of liberation. It frees you from the need to control, the fear of the unknown, and the pressure to force things into existence. It allows you to step into a state of flow, where you are guided by intuition and trust, rather than by fear and resistance. And in this state, life becomes not a struggle, but a beautiful dance between your intentions and the forces of the universe. Trusting the process is a principle that invites you to believe in the unfolding of life's events, even when you can't see how everything will work out. It's the recognition that the journey, with all its twists and turns, setbacks, and victories, is an essential part of reaching your destination. But trusting the process requires more than just patience. It requires the willingness to let go of control, to surrender the need to dictate every step along the way. And for many people, this is where the challenge lies. The desire to control is deeply ingrained in us. From a young age, we are taught that control is necessary for success. We're told that if we work hard enough, plan meticulously, and exert enough effort, we can achieve anything we want. And while discipline, focus, and effort are important, there's a critical element often overlooked: the understanding that control is, to a large degree, an illusion. No matter how much you plan or how hard you try, there are factors that remain outside your influence. Life is dynamic and unpredictable, and trying to control every aspect of it is not only impossible but also counterproductive. When you hold on too tightly, trying to control every detail of how things will unfold, you create resistance. You become so focused on the outcome and the specific path you've envisioned that you block yourself from seeing other possibilities. You miss out on opportunities that might take you in a better direction because you're too attached to how things should be. This rigidity limits you, keeping you stuck in patterns of frustration and disappointment when things don't go according to your plan. Letting go of control, on the other hand, allows you to remain open to life's infinite possibilities. It's about embracing the understanding that you don't always know the best way for things to happen. Often, what we think we want or how we think things should unfold is limited by our perspective. We can only see part of the picture, while the universe, with its infinite intelligence, sees the whole. Trusting the process is about acknowledging this and releasing the need to micromanage the details of your life. This doesn't mean you stop taking action. Trusting the process doesn't mean sitting back passively, waiting for life to happen to you. It's about taking inspired action steps that feel aligned with your deepest intentions, while letting go of the need to control the specific outcome. It's about doing your part and then allowing the universe to do its part as well. You plant the seeds, but you don't dig them up every day to check on their progress. You trust that they will grow in their own time, in their own way, according to the natural order of things. One of the hardest parts of trusting the process is dealing with uncertainty. As humans, we crave certainty and security. We want to know how things will turn out, and we want them to turn out exactly as we've planned. But life doesn't work that way. Uncertainty is a natural part of the human experience, and trying to control it only leads to stress and anxiety. The more you try to force certainty into your life, the more resistance you create. Letting go of control means learning to be comfortable with uncertainty. It means embracing the unknown and trusting that even if you can't see how things will work out, they are unfolding as they should. It's about having faith in the bigger picture even when the details are unclear. This requires a shift in mindset from one of fear and scarcity to one of trust and abundance. When you trust the process, you believe that life is working in your favor, even when it doesn't seem like it. You understand that setbacks, delays, and challenges are not signs that you're off track, but are often necessary parts of the journey. Sometimes the very thing that seems like a setback is actually a redirection towards something better. But you can only see this in hindsight. In the moment, it's easy to get caught up in frustration and disappointment, especially if things aren't going the way you had planned. However, if you trust the process, you begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth. You realize that every experience, whether positive or negative, is part of the larger picture, and that each step, no matter how difficult, is bringing you closer to where you need to be. Letting go of control also means releasing the need for immediate results. In our fast-paced world, we are conditioned to expect instant gratification. We want things to happen quickly, and when they don't, we assume something is wrong. But real growth, real change takes time. Trusting the process means allowing things to unfold in their own time. It means recognizing that the timing of your life is perfect, even if it doesn't align with your expectations. The universe operates on its own schedule, and often what seems like a delay is actually preparation for something greater. When you let go of control, you also free yourself from the burden of worry. Worry is a form of control, an attempt to manage the future by obsessing over it in the present. But worry doesn't change anything. It doesn't prevent problems from occurring, nor does it solve them when they do. All it does is drain your energy and distract you from the present moment. By trusting the process and letting go of control, you release the need to worry about every possible outcome. You allow yourself to focus on the now, on what you can do in this moment, and you trust that the future will take care of itself. It's important to understand that letting go of control doesn't mean you are powerless. In fact, it's the opposite. When you trust the process, you tap into a deeper source of power, the power of alignment. When you stop trying to force things to happen and instead align yourself with the flow of life, you find that things often fall into place more easily than you could have imagined. You begin to attract the right people, opportunities, and circumstances without having to struggle or push. This is the power of surrender, the power of allowing. Trusting the process also requires a certain level of self-awareness. It's about recognizing when your desire for control is driven by fear or insecurity. Often the need to control arises from a lack of trust in yourself, in life, or in the universe. When you feel that things must go a certain way, or that you must manage every detail, it's a sign that you are operating from a place of fear. But when you trust the process, you shift into a state of faith. You believe that you are supported by a greater intelligence and that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. Trusting the process and letting go of control is about cultivating a deeper sense of inner peace. It's about realizing that you don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to know exactly how things will turn out. All you need to do is take the next step, do your part, and then allow the rest to unfold. When you trust the process, you move through life with a sense of ease and grace. You become more resilient in the face of challenges because you know that everything is part of the larger journey. Living in the feeling of your wish fulfilled is a powerful concept that speaks to the idea that the key to manifesting your desires lies not in the future, but in the present moment. It's about embodying the emotions, thoughts, and state of being that you would experience if your wish were already a reality. This approach stems from the understanding that your inner state, the way you think and feel, shapes your outer reality. By aligning your inner world with the experience of having already achieved your desire, you draw that reality toward you. To live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled is to move beyond merely wishing for something to happen in the future. When you wish for something, there is an inherent sense of lack and acknowledgement that you do not yet have it. Wishing can often come from a place of wanting, of yearning, and as a result, reinforces the very absence of what you desire. However, when you step into the feeling of having already received what you desire, you shift your energy from lack to abundance. This shift is crucial because according to the principles of manifestation, you attract into your life what you are, not what you want. This approach requires a conscious and deliberate shift in mindset. Most of us are conditioned to think in terms of time, to believe that our desires will be fulfilled at some point in the future. We focus on the steps needed to achieve our goals, which often places our attention on the gap between where we are and where we want to be. But living in the feeling of your wish fulfilled means collapsing that gap in your mind. It means thinking and feeling as if the desired outcome is already a part of your current reality. You bypass the notion of time and begin to embody the state of your fulfilled desire right now. This process is not just about positive thinking or visualizing what you want. It goes deeper than that. It's about creating an emotional experience within yourself that mirrors what it would feel like to have your wish already granted. For example, if your desire is to experience financial abundance, you wouldn't simply think about money or picture yourself being wealthy. Instead, you would immerse yourself in the feelings that financial abundance would bring, perhaps feelings of freedom, security, and empowerment. You would begin to carry yourself with the confidence of someone who is already financially abundant. You would make decisions from the mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. Living in the feeling of your wish fulfilled also involves the body. The thoughts you think and the emotions you feel create a vibration within you, and this vibration is felt not just in your mind but throughout your entire being. To truly embody the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you must engage your whole self. How would you walk if you had already achieved your goal? How would you speak? How would you treat yourself and others? Every aspect of your behavior should reflect the reality of your fulfilled desire. This creates a powerful resonance between your inner state and the outer world. One of the most profound shifts that occur when you live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled is a change in your relationship with time. Most people view their desires as something that will be realized in the future, and as a result, they are constantly waiting for their life to improve. But when you live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you stop waiting. You step into the reality of your desire now, which changes how you experience the present moment. Instead of looking forward to the day when your wish comes true, you begin to appreciate and enjoy life as if your wish is already part of it. This presence in the moment allows you to experience a deep sense of gratitude and joy, which in turn amplifies the vibration of fulfillment. Gratitude is a key component of living in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. When you are grateful, you acknowledge that you have already received. Gratitude shifts your focus away from what is missing and toward what is already here, creating a sense of wholeness and completeness within you. This sense of completion is the essence of fulfillment. When you feel fulfilled on the inside, you naturally attract more of what aligns with that feeling in your external reality. The universe responds to your vibration, and when your vibration is one of fulfillment, it mirrors that back to you in the form of experiences that match your inner state. Another important aspect of this process is faith. Living in the feeling of your wish fulfilled requires a deep level of trust in the unseen. You must believe in the reality of your desire, even when there is no physical evidence of it yet. This can be challenging because we are conditioned to rely on what we can see, hear, and touch. But manifestation works from the inside out. The inner state of fulfillment must come first before the outer world reflects it. Faith is what bridges the gap between the invisible and the visible. It allows you to maintain the feeling of fulfillment even when circumstances seem contrary to your desire. This approach is not about forcing yourself to feel something that isn't genuine. It's about tapping into the emotions that naturally arise when you connect with the reality of your desire. You must cultivate a relationship with your inner world, one that allows you to access the emotions of fulfillment without external validation. This is where imagination comes into play. Your imagination is a powerful tool in this process because it allows you to experience the reality of your wish before it manifests physically. By consistently using your imagination to generate the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you strengthen your connection to that reality and make it more tangible in your mind and heart. One of the challenges of living in the feeling of your wish fulfilled is dealing with doubt and negative thoughts. It's natural for doubts to arise, especially when your external reality doesn't yet match your internal state. However, when these doubts come up, it's important not to give them too much attention. Instead of fighting against them or trying to suppress them, acknowledge them and then gently redirect your focus back to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Remember that your thoughts and feelings are within your control. You have the power to choose where you place your attention, and by choosing to focus on the feeling of fulfillment, you gradually dissolve doubt and strengthen your belief. Consistency is key in this process. The more consistently you live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the more you align yourself with the reality of that wish. This doesn't mean that you won't have moments of doubt or that you won't experience challenges along the way. but it does mean that you develop a practice of returning to the feeling of fulfillment, no matter what is happening in your external world. Over time, this practice becomes second nature. You begin to carry the energy of fulfillment with you in everything you do, and as a result, your external reality begins to shift in alignment with your inner state. In summary, living in the feeling of your wish fulfilled is about embodying the emotional and mental state of having already achieved your desire. It's about aligning your inner world with the reality you wish to create, and by doing so, you draw that reality toward you. This approach requires faith, imagination, and a willingness to let go of the need for external validation. By consistently practicing the feeling of fulfillment, you shift your vibration from one of lack to one of abundance, and as a result, you attract experiences that reflect the fulfillment you already feel within. Stillness, in its most profound sense, is not simply the absence of movement or noise, but a deep, inner quiet that allows you to connect with the essence of who you are beyond the surface of everyday life. It is in this stillness that surrender can truly begin. Surrender, in the context of personal growth and spiritual evolution, is the act of releasing control, letting go of the need to force outcomes, manipulate situations, or tightly grip onto the expectations we have about how life should unfold. And stillness, far from being passive, is an active state of awareness that opens the gateway to this profound act of surrender. In the modern world, people often equate busyness with productivity and success, and stillness is seen as a form of laziness or inaction. However, stillness is where the deepest transformations occur. It is in moments of stillness that you can step back from the constant chatter of the mind, from the relentless need to achieve or fix, and simply observe. This observation is not passive but allows for greater clarity to emerge. In this state, you begin to see the truth about life and its unfolding, namely, that much of what you strive to control is beyond your control. And this realization is the starting point for true surrender. When you are still, you stop fighting against what is happening. You stop resisting the natural flow of life, which is always moving in a direction that serves your highest good, even when it doesn't seem that way on the surface. In the quiet of stillness, you can perceive the subtle movements of life, the way things are shifting and unfolding without your interference. You become attuned to the rhythm of life rather than trying to impose your own. In this attunement, surrender naturally arises not as an act of defeat, but as an act of trust and acceptance. Stillness invites you to let go of the ego's need for control. The ego, that part of you that feels separate from the whole, thrives on control. It believes that through effort, struggle, and manipulation, it can ensure that life bends to its will. But this is an exhausting and ultimately fruitless way of being. Life is far too complex and interconnected to be controlled by the limited perspective of the ego. In stillness, you begin to sense that there is a greater intelligence at work, something beyond the mind that is orchestrating the events of your life in ways that you cannot fully understand. This greater intelligence, whether you call it the universe, God, or simply life itself, operates in a way that supports your growth and evolution, even when it seems to be leading you through difficult or challenging circumstances. In the stillness, you realize that surrender does not mean giving up. It means releasing the need to control outcomes, to insist that things happen on your timeline and according to your expectations. It means trusting that life, in its infinite wisdom, knows what is best for you, even when it doesn't appear that way in the moment. Surrender is an act of faith, faith in the unseen, faith in the greater unfolding of your life, and faith in your ability to navigate whatever comes your way without the need to force or resist. One of the reasons stillness is so crucial to surrender is that it allows you to separate yourself from the drama of your thoughts. The mind is constantly generating thoughts, many of which are rooted in fear, doubt, and the desire to control. These thoughts create a sense of urgency, a feeling that you must do something, fix something, or make something happen. But when you are still, you can observe these thoughts without becoming entangled in them. You begin to see that your thoughts are not reality, they are simply mental constructs. And because they are not reality, you don't need to act on every thought that arises. In stillness, you learn to discern between the thoughts that are aligned with your highest good and those that are simply the mind's way of clinging to control. This ability to step back from your thoughts is one of the most powerful gifts of stillness. It creates space for new insights to emerge, space for intuition to guide you, and space for surrender to take root. When you are constantly reacting to your thoughts and trying to manage every detail of your life, you are living from a place of reactivity rather than from a place of alignment. But in stillness, you shift from reactivity to responsiveness. You allow life to unfold without the need to rush in and change things. You respond to life from a place of clarity and calm rather than from fear and anxiety. Stillness also brings you into the present moment. So much of our desire to control comes from the mind's focus on the future or the past. We worry about what might happen or we replay what has already happened, trying to change it in our minds. But the present moment is the only place where life is truly happening. It is the only moment in which you can connect with the flow of life. In stillness, you anchor yourself in the now. You stop projecting into the future or clinging to the past, and you experience life as it is without the need to change it. This presence is the essence of surrender, because it allows you to accept life as it is right now without resistance or judgment. As you cultivate stillness, you also begin to realize that life is constantly changing. Nothing stays the same for long. Everything is in a state of flux, from the seasons to your emotions to the circumstances of your life. When you are still, you can observe this constant flow without feeling the need to hold on to anything. You understand that trying to control the flow of life is like trying to hold back a river. It's impossible, and it only leads to frustration. Instead, in stillness, you learn to flow with life, to surrender to its current rather than fighting against it. This doesn't mean you are passive or inactive. It means you take action from a place of alignment with the flow rather than from a place of resistance. One of the greatest lessons of stillness is that it teaches you to trust yourself. When you are constantly busy or distracted, you lose touch with your inner wisdom. You rely on external sources, whether it's other people, circumstances, or the mind's constant chatter to guide you. But in stillness, you reconnect with your intuition, with that deep part of you that knows what is best for you. This inner knowing is subtle, and it can only be heard in the quiet of stillness. As you trust this inner voice, surrender becomes easier because you no longer feel the need to control everything from the outside. You understand that your inner guidance will lead you in the right direction, even if that direction is not immediately clear. Stillness also allows you to embrace uncertainty. Life is full of unknowns, and the desire to control often stems from a fear of the unknown. But when you are still, you come to realize that uncertainty is not something to be feared. It is a natural part of life. In fact, uncertainty is where all new possibilities arise. When you surrender to the unknown, you open yourself to new opportunities, new experiences, and new ways of being. You let go of the need to have everything figured out, and you trust that life will reveal itself to you in its own time. In the end, stillness is the doorway to surrender because it brings you into alignment with the truth of life. It shows you that control is not only unnecessary but also counterproductive to your growth and fulfillment. In stillness, you learn to trust in the flow of life, to let go of the need to force things, and to surrender to the wisdom that is always guiding you. It is in this space of stillness that true surrender becomes not just possible but natural. Detaching from outcomes and trusting the unseen is a fundamental principle that transcends the ordinary understanding of goal setting, achievement, and success. It asks us to release our firm grip on the specific results we desire and surrender to the natural flow of life. Detachment does not mean giving up or losing interest in what we want. Instead, it signifies a profound shift in perspective, one where we maintain clarity on our goals, but free ourselves from the burden of needing a specific outcome. This practice encourages trust in forces beyond our immediate perception, fostering a sense of faith in the unseen, the intangible workings of the universe, or the subtle undercurrents that guide our lives. When we become overly attached to outcomes, we place our happiness and sense of fulfillment on something external. We say to ourselves, "I'll be happy when I get the promotion," or "I will feel complete when this relationship works out." This thinking leads to a conditional way of living, where our inner state of peace, joy, or contentment is constantly deferred until an external condition is met. The problem with this approach is that it keeps us in a perpetual state of waiting. Even when we achieve a goal, the mind quickly latches onto the next desired outcome, repeating the cycle. As a result, we rarely allow ourselves to experience the peace and joy available in the present moment. Detachment from outcomes is about breaking free from this cycle. It doesn't mean that we stop caring about our goals or that we no longer put effort into what we do. Rather, it means that we no longer tie our sense of self-worth, happiness, or fulfillment to the achievement of a particular result. When we are detached from outcomes, we focus more on the process than the end result. We show up fully in each moment, engage in our activities with passion and purpose, and do our best without clinging to how things must turn out. This mindset allows for greater flexibility, adaptability, and resilience because we are no longer rigidly attached to a single path or outcome. One of the greatest challenges in practicing detachment is overcoming the fear of uncertainty. As humans, we have an innate desire for control and predictability. We want to know that our efforts will lead to success, that our actions will yield the desired results. But the truth is, life is inherently uncertain. No matter how much we plan or strategize, there are countless factors beyond our control that can influence the outcome of any situation. By accepting this uncertainty and detaching from the need to control every aspect of our lives, we open ourselves to the possibility of outcomes that are better than anything we could have imagined. This is where trusting the unseen comes into play. Trusting the unseen means believing that there is a larger plan at work, even when we cannot see it. It requires faith in the idea that life is always unfolding for our highest good, even when it doesn't appear that way in the moment. Trusting the unseen doesn't mean we stop taking action or abandon our goals. Instead, it means we recognize that while we can influence our lives through our choices and actions, there is a greater intelligence guiding the overall process. Many people struggle with the concept of trusting the unseen because they equate trust with certainty. They want guarantees that things will work out the way they want. But trust, by its very nature, exists in the absence of certainty. Trust is about having faith in the unknown, in the possibilities that we cannot yet perceive. It is about believing that the universe, God, or life itself is working on our behalf, even when we are faced with obstacles, delays, or challenges. When we detach from outcomes and trust the unseen, we shift from a mindset of control to one of collaboration with life. We recognize that while we can make choices and take actions, we are co-creators in the process. There is a dance between our efforts and the unfolding of events that is beyond our conscious control. This doesn't mean we become passive. On the contrary, it empowers us to act with greater confidence and peace because we are no longer driven by fear or the need to micromanage every detail. We trust that as long as we are aligned with our purpose, life will bring us the experiences and opportunities that serve our highest good. Another important aspect of detaching from outcomes is releasing the need for validation. Often we seek certain outcomes because we believe they will validate our worth or prove something about who we are. We may think, if I achieve this, it will mean I am successful, or if this person loves me, it will mean I am worthy. This attachment to external validation keeps us in a state of insecurity, constantly seeking approval from others or from external circumstances. When we detach from outcomes, we begin to find our sense of worth from within. We no longer need external success, recognition, or approval to feel good about ourselves. We trust in our inherent value, regardless of the outcomes we experience. In the process of detachment, we also cultivate greater inner peace. When we are attached to specific outcomes, we are often in a state of tension or anxiety, constantly worrying about whether things will turn out the way we want. This anxiety can lead to stress, frustration, and even a sense of powerlessness when things don't go as planned. However, when we detach from outcomes, we free ourselves from this emotional turmoil. We accept that we have done our part, and we trust that whatever happens next will be for the best. This doesn't mean we won't experience disappointment or challenges, but it does mean we approach them with a sense of calm and acceptance rather than resistance. Detaching from outcomes also allows us to experience life more fully in the present moment. When we are constantly focused on future outcomes, we miss the beauty and richness of the here and now. We are so preoccupied with what might happen that we fail to appreciate what is happening. But when we let go of our attachment to specific outcomes, we become more present. We engage more fully with life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. This presence brings a sense of joy and fulfillment that is not dependent on external circumstances. It comes from within, from the simple act of being fully alive and fully present. In practical terms, detachment from outcomes does not mean we stop setting goals or having desires. It simply means we approach our goals with a sense of openness and flexibility. We hold our desires lightly without gripping them so tightly that they become a source of stress or frustration. We take inspired action toward our goals, but we remain open to the possibility that life may have something even better in store for us. This openness allows us to flow with life rather than resist it. We trust that if a certain outcome doesn't manifest, it's because something more aligned with our highest good is on its way. Trusting the unseen also involves cultivating patience. In a world that often values instant gratification, patience can be a difficult quality to develop. But true growth and fulfillment take time. Sometimes the outcomes we desire take longer to manifest than we would like, and in those moments it can be tempting to lose faith or give up. But when we trust the unseen, we understand that the timing of our lives is not always in our control. We learn to be patient, knowing that life is unfolding exactly as it should, even if we cannot see the full picture yet. Detaching from outcomes and trusting the unseen is a practice of surrender. It is about letting go of the need to control every detail of our lives and trusting that life is guiding us in the direction we need to go. It is about finding peace and fulfillment in the present moment, rather than waiting for some future event to bring us happiness. And it is about cultivating faith in the unseen forces that are always working on our behalf, even when we cannot see or understand them. Through this practice, we free ourselves from the limitations of fear, anxiety, and control, and we step into a space of trust, openness, and true freedom. Surrender is often misunderstood as a form of giving up or relinquishing control, but in its truest sense, it is one of the most powerful and transformative practices available. Surrender is about letting go of resistance and aligning yourself with the natural flow of life. Rather than trying to force outcomes, manipulate circumstances, or struggle against the current of life, surrender allows you to step into a state of harmony where you work with, rather than against, the forces that guide your journey. This alignment with the flow of life brings about a sense of ease, clarity, and purpose that cannot be attained through sheer willpower or force. Surrender leads to alignment and flow, because it shifts the focus from external control to inner trust, fostering a deeper connection with life's inherent wisdom. At its core, surrender is the recognition that there is a larger intelligence at work, something beyond our conscious mind that knows what is best for us, even when we don't. This intelligence can be seen in nature, in the way the seasons change, rivers flow, and plants grow without any effort or resistance. Nature operates in perfect harmony, and when we surrender, we align ourselves with this same natural order. We stop trying to impose our will on life and begin to trust that life is guiding us in the right direction, even when it doesn't always appear that way on the surface. Surrender requires the release of control, and this is often where people struggle the most. We are conditioned to believe that control equals power, and that if we can control the details of our lives, we can ensure our happiness, success, and fulfillment. But this belief is a trap. The more we try to control, the more we become entangled in the very circumstances we are trying to manage. Control breeds tension, anxiety, and resistance because life is unpredictable and often defies our expectations. When we cling too tightly to how we think things should unfold, we miss the opportunities that arise when we allow life to take its natural course. Surrender opens the door to alignment. Alignment is the state of being in harmony with your true self, your purpose, and the greater flow of life. When you are aligned, things begin to fall into place with less effort. You find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, and experiencing synchronicities that support your path. This doesn't mean that challenges disappear or that everything becomes easy, but it does mean that you are no longer fighting against the current. Instead, you are moving with it, and as a result, your actions are more effective and your life feels more purposeful. Surrendering to alignment means trusting that the universe or life itself is always working in your favor, even when circumstances seem difficult or unclear. It means recognizing that every experience, whether positive or negative, is part of your journey and has something to teach you. When you surrender, you stop resisting the lessons that life is offering and start embracing them. This shift in perspective allows you to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to be overcome. In this way, surrender becomes a path to deeper self-awareness and personal evolution. Flow is the natural result of surrender and alignment. When you are in flow, you experience a sense of ease and grace in your actions and decisions. Things that once felt difficult or stressful begin to unfold effortlessly. This is not because life has suddenly become perfect, but because you have stopped resisting its natural rhythms. You are no longer pushing against the current, but instead are moving with it. Flow is the state in which you are fully present, fully engaged, and fully trusting in the process of life. It is a state of being where time seems to slow down, creativity flourishes, and you feel a deep sense of connection with everything around you. One of the key aspects of surrender that leads to flow is the ability to release attachment to specific outcomes. When you are attached to how things should turn out, you create resistance. You become fixated on a particular result, and when life doesn't go according to your plan, you experience frustration, disappointment, or even despair. But when you surrender your attachment to the outcome, you open yourself to new possibilities. You allow life to surprise you, and often the outcome is far better than anything you could have imagined. Surrendering doesn't mean you stop caring or stop working toward your goals. It means you trust that whatever happens is for your highest good, even if it looks different from what you initially envisioned. Another important element of surrender is patience. In a world that often demands instant results, surrender asks us to trust in the timing of life. Sometimes things take longer to unfold than we would like, and it's easy to become impatient or to doubt that our desires will ever come to fruition. But when we surrender, we understand that life has its own timing and that things will happen when they are meant to, not when we want them to. Patience is a form of trust, and it allows us to stay aligned with the flow even when progress seems slow or invisible. In this way, surrender teaches us to let go of the need for immediate gratification and to trust in the process of life unfolding in its own perfect way. Surrender also cultivates a deeper sense of inner peace. When you are constantly trying to control everything, your mind is in a state of agitation, always planning, worrying, and strategizing. This mental noise creates stress and anxiety, as you are constantly trying to ensure that life goes according to your plan. But when you surrender, you let go of this need to control. You stop trying to manipulate every detail of your life and start trusting that things will work out, even if you don't have all the answers. This shift in mindset brings a sense of calm and peace because you are no longer at war with life. You have stopped resisting what is and have instead embraced the present moment, trusting that the future will unfold in the right way and at the right time. Surrender also enhances your intuition and inner guidance. When you are trying to control everything, you are often disconnected from your inner wisdom because your mind is too busy trying to figure everything out. But when you surrender, you quiet the mind and create space for your intuition to guide you. Intuition is that subtle inner knowing that comes from a deeper place of wisdom beyond the rational mind. It is your connection to the greater flow of life, and it often provides guidance that is more aligned with your true self than anything your logical mind can come up with. By surrendering control and trusting your intuition, you allow yourself to be guided by something greater than your limited perspective, and this leads to more aligned and fulfilling choices. In practical terms, surrender doesn't mean you stop taking action or give up on your goals. It means that you take action from a place of alignment, where your actions are inspired and guided by your inner knowing rather than driven by fear, control, or the need for a specific outcome. When you act from this place of surrender, your actions become more powerful and effective because they are aligned with the flow of life. You are no longer forcing things to happen, but instead are working in harmony with the natural flow of events. One of the most beautiful aspects of surrender is that it opens you up to miracles and unexpected blessings. When you stop trying to control every aspect of your life and instead trust in the flow, you create space for things to unfold in ways that are beyond your imagination. Life has a way of surprising us when we let go of our need to control. Opportunities, connections, and solutions often appear when we least expect them, and they are often far better than anything we could have planned. Surrendering to the flow of life allows us to experience these miracles because we are no longer blocking them with our resistance. Surrender leads to alignment and flow because it is a practice of trust, acceptance, and allowing. It is about letting go of the need to control and instead aligning yourself with the natural flow of life. This alignment brings a sense of ease, clarity, and purpose, and it allows you to experience life from a place of peace and trust rather than fear and resistance. Flow is the natural result of this alignment, and it leads to a life that feels more harmonious, fulfilling, and in tune with the deeper rhythms of the universe. Through surrender, you step into a state of grace where life unfolds with greater ease and you experience the profound joy of being in alignment with your true self in the flow of life. The art of surrender is not about giving up or losing control, but rather about aligning with the natural flow of life and trusting in the unseen forces that guide us. Through surrender, we detach from rigid outcomes and embrace the deeper wisdom that life offers, allowing us to move through challenges with ease and grace. By letting go of resistance, we open ourselves to alignment where our actions are infused with purpose and our path becomes clearer. This state of alignment leads to flow, a harmonious dance with life that brings peace, fulfillment, and unexpected blessings. Surrender teaches us that the greatest strength lies not in controlling life's circumstances, but in trusting the journey and allowing life to unfold in its own perfect way. When we surrender, we step into a space of inner peace, trust, and alignment, where we are truly connected to the flow of the universe.